We're ready. Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I move to reconvene into open session.
Second.
And roll call vote. Susan?
Aye.
Sorry. Elizabeth?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Maureen? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried. All right, no public appearances. And I have a motion for the consent agenda.
I move the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Yes.
I did mention a couple of corrections to Tish, and I think they've been made. One was it didn't show Susan Fox at the last meeting. It showed Eric twice.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool.
I didn't notice that.
And then the list of meetings, so it's just simple. If anybody else knows that, she fixed them. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and roll call vote. Susan?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Maureen? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried. All right, recognitions.
Okay. So all of our schools participated in the Great Lakes Great Apple Crunch earlier this month. Each student who got a school lunch was served a Honeycrisp apple from a local Stoughton farm and learned about the importance of eating healthy and local foods as part of their Farm to School AmeriCorps program. At every lunch period, there was a countdown where all students crunched into their apples together. And by the way, we will be having a board report next month to learn more about the program.
That's good.
Congratulations to high school sophomore Mackenzie Babcock, who qualified for the state cross-country race for the second year in a row. She placed third in the forest sectional last Saturday. Congrats are also in order for the girls team who finished third and the boys who finished 10th. Project Unify Club hosted the student versus staff volleyball game at Glacial Drumlin School, and it was a huge success with over 150 students and staff involved in the event. Project Unify is an organization that brings students both with and without intellectual disabilities together through education, sports, and related initiatives in the hopes that it will build community and a positive environment for all. And October is National School Principal Month, and we'd like to take this time to extend our gratitude and appreciation for our amazing principals. And most of them are with us this evening: Danielle Wright, Emily Foster, Angie Fassel, Mitch McGrath, Chris Langer, and Reed Foster.
All right. The board also agrees with that. All right, moving on to.
Can I just do a one recognition?
Go ahead.
So Taylor Perry this week is having Bring Your Grown Up to Fayed. And I had the lovely experience of participating today, and it was just so fun. And everyone did a great job, and the kids were super happy. And I got a good workout in, so thanks for that family engagement opportunity.
Yes.
And I would just add to that, that one of my first true experiences with Reed Foster was being invited to his physical education class, which was the most enlightening experience. Because you think of what yours was like, you don't have those experiences in that. They are decision making, they are team building, they are developing as learners, not just leaders. It was really a great experience. So then to watch him move into an administrative position was really gratifying. So it is interesting, and actually I was trying to go, but it's difficult for us to sign up if we're not a parent. Ginger sent that out.
I'll sign up for you, Susan, if you want to go on Friday.
All right, moving on, there's no correspondence and announcements, so administrative reports. Tim?
Okay, just one item tonight I'd like to bring to your attention. We are in the process of doing a staff engagement survey. And the reason that I thought is noteworthy is we've done staff engagement surveys in the past. We didn't do them over the last couple of years during the pandemic, but we're doing a little bit different survey this year. We're actually working with Gallup, and the reason for the change, first of all, Gallup is very much a research-based survey, and the other part of it is the more the follow-up. You know, it's part of our strategic plan and it is part of our retention policy, but more importantly, engaged staff also leads to more productive, innovative staff driving, for organizational excellence. And what Gallup will also do is help us analyze our results and with that give us support in developing action plans to make improvements. So certainly there'll be a lot more that comes to the board in the future with that, but I just wanted to put that on your radar that was the reason for the change. And I attached a bunch of documents that if you're interested in looking into, get a little bit more detail about the process and some of the things that staff engagement represents.
Susan?
Well, and Dan, I think one of the things that looked to me like, as you talked about them doing the analysis, we not only get the flavor of how our staff feels, but how they fit nationally with that, which is a piece that usually we just get the survey.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we'll be able to compare to other K-12 organizations, but even other organizations that are considered highly successful, and I think which will be really beneficial.
Yeah.
Elizabeth?
No, I just wanted to add that I was really excited to see this for the reason that you just said, Dan, because Gallup's been doing research around just employee wellness and employee satisfaction across all sectors across the globe. And there's just some consistencies there that they've been finding through their research, and I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of how that then fits within an education setting and then within our unique context itself. So I think it's really cool.
Yep.
I'm glad we're doing it.
The other thing I should add is I want to recognize Nicole Thibodeau, because Nicole is the person that did the research and brought this forward with the recommendation to move to Gallup. So.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole. All right, no other questions. Next are board reports. Personnel Committee, Susan Fox.
Personnel Committee met on October 17 for negotiations with the MGEA and educational assistants for the 2022-23 collective bargaining agreement, and basically we discussed some updates to proposals from both groups, and we are meeting again next Wednesday, November 9 at 4:30 again. So nothing concluded yet. That's it.
Thank you. And next is Teaching, Learning, and Equity Committee, Elizabeth.
Yeah, so the Teaching, Learning, Equity Committee met on Monday. We had two main topics on the agenda. One was talking about new teacher orientation and training. So new teacher orientation and then training and professional development in general. We had 50 new hires this year that engaged in a multi-day professional development at the beginning of the year and then received mentoring and coaching support throughout their duration of their time here throughout the school year, which was really nice. Major themes is that people felt really welcome to the district. They felt like their feedback and perspectives were really honored, and it sort of struck that nice balance of information and work time, which was really nice to hear. And then in addition to that, the professional development for the year really been focusing a lot on our ICS work and our equity work as well, and really seeing more increased fluency around kind of what that is, how to implement things in the classroom in a way that feels like you're really drawing down on the values and that the values are aligned. So I thought that was really good to know and good to hear. The other thing that we talked about was some work around student voice and a professional development that was just held actually at the most recent in-service day, thinking specifically around how we're meaningfully engaging students and leveraging their perspectives, their voice, their ability to kind of be full participants and co-plan within their educational experiences. And so those slides are up in board docs for anyone who's interested in looking at those. The second thing that was on our agenda was a follow-up around math curriculum. So as I shared last time, we have implemented a new math curriculum K-8 here. And so we just got an update from Lisa around how that's been going. And in general, it's been going really well. And it's nice to hear that both of our math instructional coaches are available for continuous coaching and professional development for any staff who just wants that, right? Because implementing a new curriculum can be difficult. And then as you may remember, 9-12 is kind of a little bit behind K-8 in terms of where they're at in the adoption cycle of new curriculum. So they are working on piloting 2 programs this year in hopes of implementation next year, and they just started piloting the first one. And our next meeting is the Monday after Thanksgiving, so that would be November 28th.
Susan?
Dan, one of the questions I asked was, in one of your superintendent's report, would you just give us a very brief update on that math curriculum itself? Because if you don't go to teaching, learning, and equity, you really don't get that information. I think it's important that not only the board hears some of that, but that the community hears that instead of just getting phone calls saying, what are you doing with the math, you know? And I can't answer it because I don't even know much about the curriculum change. So I'm talking about 5 minutes and then maybe just a resource sheet for us, so that we can be knowledgeable in that arena as the changes occur. I refer the questions, but they do sometimes expect us to at least know it occurred.
Susan, you were going to say something?
Well, I think we talked about, as far as the community, that the school newsletters would have sort of a blurb that there was a new curriculum, and so I guess I don't look at this as for that. If other board members do feel the need for that, then that's
I did
fine.
look, and I hadn't seen anything in the
Right.
newsletters. I specifically read the newsletters,
Right.
and this particular, because I
think we're hearing that there was, and I will admit that I have not read all of them this year. I usually do read them, and I have missed some too, just because of
It
travels.
wasn't the 2 newsletters that I get home, just for what it's worth.
They were,
Mhm.
and it was.
Right.
I can only speak for the 2 buildings my
Okay.
children are in.
Right, but we're hearing from, I'm seeing from staff back
Lisa,
there.
do you
there's-
want to add on to that? Are they in the newsletters? Or?
Correct, there was a statement about the updated resources that went into all of the newsletters across the district, and then also the presentation at TLE that was about math. There is one of those early slides that I think every board member has access to, had many resource links to ed reports, to the actual websites for those K-5 and the 6-8 math curriculum, et cetera. So probably places to get some.
And you did address that with us at the first meeting after when you brought that up. So I personally feel like I've had what I need. So I guess that's why I brought that up. I think if we're going to ask for something as a board, we should.
Well, I was
maybe
just
do that.
thinking if there was an update, and you guys are doing an update, that just in the superintendent report.
Well, if there is one, fine, but if there isn't, I don't feel the need to create one. I guess that's all I'm saying. Not a big deal.
Well, that's because people don't stop you on the street and ask you those questions. So again, as an elected official, it's helpful for me to have some of that general knowledge. And it was a little bit of an update, maybe not much. Is that going to be in the newsletters? Gifting?
The specific question was just how is implementation going in the first 5 weeks?
Yeah, so just to clarify, I had asked for Lisa to come to TLE to give us an update on how the implementation components are going. I don't think that there's anything in there that would warrant an update for
Right.
parents. Just from my parent perspective, it was more just, new curriculum can be, tricky and tough, and what does that look like, and how are staff feeling about it, and, what are the supports that are available for our staff.
Right.
And I think those are all questions that, as a board member, it's helpful for us to have that feedback.
How do other
How's
board
it going?
members feel?
Eric doesn't read it anyway.
Well, I guess I felt like we got it through Elizabeth's report. I guess that was my.
But I'll be glad to follow up and share resources.
Okay. Or I can always come in and meet with you, but I
So-
just thought it might be easier to do 5 minutes.
Sure.
Elizabeth?
I just have a quick question I forgot to ask. So last time I reported on TLE, I got feedback from the board that the agenda for TLE wasn't detailed enough. And so I incorporated that feedback, and I was wondering if anyone looked at the agenda and would that work for y'all?
Since I'm the one who brought that up, I have to.
I was trying to not say, Susan, did you like my agenda? But Susan, did you like my
I
agenda?
have to admit, I was out of town for last week, so I did not look at it.
Well, let the
Will now,
minutes-
though, because I'll look at the.
Let the minutes reflect that I incorporated the feedback that I received at the board meeting.
So I do appreciate that.
Well, I would like to say, I did look at it, and I thought it was very complete, and I knew what they were going to do.
Thank you.
It's just that I was unavailable over the weekend, and so I didn't see the agenda until
Yeah.
Monday. And poor Tish, could you link me in? And by that time, I had a doctor's appointments.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you for the feedback.
All right, we're ready to move on. All right, to possible action items. So 2022, 2023 budget.
Yeah, provided with a couple pieces of information. One is a quick budget summary memo, and then the DPI recommended format of the budget to publish once the board approves. As you know, the board approved the original budget in June, and the updated version was presented and approved in September at the annual meeting. This is the latest and greatest version based on our third Friday count, our final revenue limit, and certified aid from the state, including our per pupil allocation, grant allocations, and use of ESSER dollars. On the expenditure side, it includes board-approved salary adjustments, current staffing, our benefits, which renew on January 1, and our yearly increases with the bus company, utilities, and on the expenditure side of our open enrollment. Pretty much the deficit is the same as that was presented at the annual meeting, about $845,000. And once this budget is approved, we'll immediately start working on the next budget to see where we are and do projections forward. And I've talked about doing some 3 years projections that we need to go forward with. It's going to be a little tough because the biennium budget, we don't know what's going to happen and with the governor's election and everything. So it's all up for grabs. So anyway. The recommended motion is to approve the 22-23 budget as presented.
Susan? I would just like to say this document was incredibly helpful, Mark. I really thought the audited, again, the comparison of the different years and basically just the financial information, it's incredibly helpful, and it's presented in a way that's very readable. I can make copies. So I really, really appreciate the work,
Thank you.
the way it was presented. Peter?
I'm going to ask you to elucidate a few of the numbers. At the end of this year, what will as a percentage, what will our fund balance be? It'll drop to,
I think it's about 15%.
it'll be down to about 15%, because we're taking $865,000 out of it.
845 or
Yeah, whatever it is.
845?
Yeah, it's 800
Don't make it
and
higher
something.
than
And when Jared was first here, he'd give you that number to the penny.
Yeah.
And so the 15 is sort of where we
That's
are
the
minimum.
low-
That's our
the
minimum.
minimum,
Okay. I noticed that local taxes are down by $1.1 million.
Yeah,
Based
that's
on-
next.
What's that?
That's next. The
That's
taxes.
the next item.
That's the next action item. I can explain that.
Oh, okay, you can explain. Okay, fine. It's just on one budget document.
Yeah.
That's why I'm.
Yeah, but because we had a significant increase in state aid.
Okay, that's, I'm wondering why. So the state aid went up and all the taxes went down.
Yeah.
Why did the state aid go up? What was driving that?
Our year-end adjustments, our year-end financials, and the allocation of the state.
The state just changed the allocation. Nothing happened in the district that.
Hold on, shouldn't we approve the budget and then go to that, Peter?
Well, I'm just looking over the whole, it is.
Because
some part of
it's
it.
a
they're both
separate,
two
yeah.
action items, so.
Yeah, I know, I'm just sorry, I'm just going through the
I
whole
know, I'm just.
budget at the time, but.
Procedurally, we should probably approve the
Well,
budget and go to
that
the tax levy.
Okay, hang on a second. And then the ESSER funds come in this year.
There were some last year, but the
Small.
Yeah, the bulk, that's ESSER 2.
Uh-huh.
And so the bigger part is ESSER 3 plus the additional allocations that were calculated by that Fed gave the state
Because
for like the return to learn and.
Because the federal sources go from 600,000 or 7,000 to 3 million.
Right, yeah.
And that's the ESSER funds, and that's 1 year, 2 years? How long does that last?
We have, well, technically, we have until September of '24 to spend some of it, and some of it's September, well, it's this year,
Yeah.
September of '24. But, so we have basically a 2-year budget cycle that we can spend it. Might be 25, but we are probably gonna be using it all this year.
Okay, so that's, yeah, that's good. Okay, so that, we'll see that 3 million this year and
Yeah.
nothing for that, or
Correct.
most, a much smaller number next year.
If none, if not none.
Okay. Great, thank you.
That's the cliff everybody's talking
That's
about.
I'm sorry, there was one other number that stood out in here to me, and now I'm having trouble finding it. And then we refinanced, and there's no refinance expenses we expect to come up this year.
Not at this point,
Refinance,
no.
We expect to come up, so that is numbers, that's all sort of funny anyway.
Where interest rates are right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at. I mean, we did manage to do some financing at 0.4%, and that's not gonna happen again.
My career, I guess I should
All right,
say.
thank you. Those are my questions. Thank you.
And then,
Susan?
and Dan, I was just looking for this, the DHS, we were mentioning that earlier when you first came in, that we might receive some additional funding for healthcare.
Yeah, so that would be included in the budget at this point, but
No,
as
but-
things come up throughout the year, if there are other funding opportunities, that would just be additional revenue that would come in,
Okay.
so.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I move approval of the 2022-2023 budget as presented.
Second?
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Or we-
Aye.
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 All right. Ayes have it, motion is carried. All right, next is the 2022-2023 tax levy.
Yeah, board needs to officially approve the levy for 22-23 school year. I provided you with a summary of the last 5 years, I believe it is, as soon as I get this up, of where we have been with the overall levy, the increase, the changes in equalized value, and the levy rates. As you can see, the last 3 years, it has gone down based on the starting point of 1920. So this current year, we're projecting to go down another 3.07%. And you can see that the equalized value has gone up 5% a year for the last few years, and this year it was up 8%. So that is figured into the calculation and then provided a tax levy projection for different values of homes, anywhere from $200,000 to $600,000 in the district, and what their tax burden would be if we were the only taxing entity. We do not provide a tax rate to municipalities. We provide an overall levy amount, and they divvy it up the way they need to and see fit. So the recommendation is a motion to approve the 22-23 all funds tax levy of $28,715,212.
I move approval of the 2022-2023 tax levy as presented.
Second?
Any further discussion? Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Right, then those discussion items and then future meeting dates are located in board docs. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried, meeting is adjourned.